Hey guys, and welcome back to the Game Not Game podcast. My name is Green, and with me, as always, is my co-host Zen from his channel Zen and Cyrene. How you doing, Zen?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. So, is jumping right into it. I don't know. Do you want to start with The Witness or Godus?
We can start. You know what? Let's start with Godus.
Okay. So, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but in the gaming news circle, this is a game that's been in development for like 2 years, I want to say, following a successful Kickstarter. And the lead developer is Peter Molyneux, who, you know, he's infamous in gaming for promising very neat things and not delivering those things. He was behind Spore and Fable and a lot of other games that people consider kind of classics, but also games where they were going to be the greatest game in the world before they came out, and they ended up clearly not being. So he wanted to make this game called Godus, which is a god game, and I think he worked on a god game like a long time ago. I can't remember the name. I guess he might be talking about Spore, actually.
I think it's Populous. No. Spore is
Populous. That's the one. Populous. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the game, but that's kind of his roots, is god games. So he wanted to make this weird like strategy game where you have you're a god and you have your people worshiping you and stuff. And he did a Kickstarter and sucked everybody in. He was like, this game's gonna be so neat, check out all this cool shit that it's gonna have. It's gonna be a unique combat system, nothing ever like it before. Cool. And raised a ton of money. And fast forward 2 years later, they didn't say they're stopping development on Godus, but they're stopping development on Godus. I don't know if it's Godus or Godus, because they've released a new thing called Godus Wars, which is like an RTS, like a straight up RTS, instead of like a management-y god game thing. And they gave it out for free for all the people who did the Kickstarter, but it's trash now. Like, it's super early access, really, really bare bones, not game yet thing. And it launched with microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $5 per continent. I think you start with one continent, and then there are 7 continents that you can pay $5 a piece for. Luckily, they took that back out. But they defended it. They were like, well, we thought it would be reasonable because we gave this game for free to all these people who bought the other game. And it's like, okay, the game you didn't finish? That game? That's what you're talking about? And, they defended it as a good value, but, hard to imagine how that could be true.
I have to wonder at this point what the financial health of 22 Cans is,
Yeah, it seems very clear to me that they've spent their Kickstarter money and don't have a game yet. Like, that's almost without question. They've spent their Kickstarter, because it was like 2 years ago, and they only raised something like $50,000, which, sounds like a lot of money. But to pay more than one person to work on a game for 2 years, that is very little money. Much less than a living salary. So they're probably like, shit, we're out of money. And we're having a lot of trouble designing this combat in a way that fits in with the rest of the game. So let's make a new game about this cool combat that we thought of as like an RTS, and then charge people for it. But we can't just charge people for it, because then they'll get mad. So let's give it to them for free and then put microtransactions in it.
I kind of feel it would have been better for them to just early access charge them for it and not worry about microtransactions.
It's hard to say. Yeah, now they're in a position where they've taken back the microtransactions, so be on the lookout for Molyneux's next way to extract money from people, because clearly they need some to finich that game.
Man.
We'll see what happens.
Do you remember Curiosity the Cube?
Yeah, that was fucking weird.
Yeah, it's I've got to hand it to Molyneux. I mean, it's kind of weird, right? Molyneux knows how to get attention, but once he gets that attention, he really doesn't know what to do with it afterwards.
He's not very good at polishing ideas,
right,
and honing them into something focused and awesome. He's very good at hyping and having really cool ideas. He doesn't understand the path from getting that idea out of his head into a video game very well.
I feel like he would probably do better if he had a partner who was much more down to earth. A business partner.
It needs to be like a buddy cop movie. He's the crazy one. He needs somebody.
You're loose cannon, Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, exactly. He needs regular legs to his baby legs.
Yeah. That would make for a pretty entertaining buddy cop movie, you know. I mean, who's
Peter Molyneux in? But you know, if Peter Molyneux is directing this movie, it's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's not. It's not. It's going to be like 5 minutes long, and then after that, they will go to the direct-to-video sequel. Who would be the the very serious game developer in that partnership? I wonder.
Interesting.
Like there are plenty of them. I'm sure. I just cannot remember.
They don't really stand out, do they?
John Carmack.
What did he do?
He was one of the programmers behind Doom. Like he's this genius programmer, right? But
yeah,
he's very intense, very focused on his programming, to his credit, because he got all kinds of success in the early PC gaming realm from that. So he would be like the straight shooter type to Peter Molyneux's loose cannon type, you know? And then they go on a buddy movie, but a road trip together.
To find themselves in their game.
Yeah.
I would totally play a game joint Peter Molyneux, John Carmack. That sounds solid.
Yeah, and the antagonist is John Romero. Oh man, early PC history stuff.
That would be good. It would have to be like a 90s hacker movie too.
Oh yeah. I kind of vaguely remember those, when hacking was this kind of really mysterious thing, and the things that they portrayed in the movie, you know.
Yeah, it's all madness. It has nothing to do with what a real computer is, because at the time, almost nobody knew what a real computer was. So, like, the internet was still this, like, crazy thing that nobody was really sure what exactly it was. It was something different for everybody. Like, people knew how to check their email, but they would totally believe it if you told them that there was some crazy website for almost anything out there in the deep web that they hadn't heard of.
Well, was it you that was talking to about this, about Yahoo? No, I think it was Cyrene. Like, we were talking about the early days of Yahoo. You know, back when it was called like David and Jerry's Guide to the Internet.
Whoa, I don't remember that.
Yeah, this was a long time ago in internet terms, because this was back. Oh yeah, we were talking about it on Twitter very briefly about how you could walk into a magazine shop and buy a directory to the internet.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
before search engines.
Which I did, because I lived in Malaysia, and I flew here to the United States every year to have a vacation, and learned about. I bought a magazine about the internet, all these cool websites. Just go to the computer and painstakingly type them in, because website addresses are very long. I mean, we still have long ones now, but they're automatically generated, right? The ones in the past were very long, but they weren't automatically generated by scripts that we have today.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So I remember those days.
Yeah, I'm too young for that. I remember AOL.
AOL, I was never on AOL. So I vaguely remember seeing things about it.
Yeah, I was on AOL, and there was a time when I was very young, like 6 or so, when I didn't really know how to just get to websites. I only knew how to go on the AOL homepage and click on things from there. And they had different like categories of internet. You could go to like the fashion internet or the like the kids internet, and it was really weird. Like, yeah, it was odd. It was these strange like curated pages of links to other things. Like, for example, on the fashion thing, you could like click on links that would take you to like websites of fashion magazines or like places to buy clothes. I don't remember it that well because I was so young.
Was it? You had to type in keywords, right, or something?
Yeah, the keywords were a big thing. I think this is like pre-keywords.
Oh, this
is like before they just, because they had their own like weird curated internet basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just. So I think it was keywords in that there were like 9 of them, and you would just click on the keyword you want, and then it would show you that very tiny portion of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then later they expanded to the point where that was no longer like the focus of AOL, and you could just browse the internet. But if you searched for keywords, then yeah, it was basically the worst search engine you can imagine.
I think, you know how there was this very indie game recently released in which it kind of simulated a romance or a relationship that was done over AOL Instant Messenger, kind of like a fake version of that. So there was a game that came out that was that, right? Just reliving that time. Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I think somebody is going to remake the AOL itself, like that little part of the internet that you're talking about, in which you could at first just be limited to all these very gaudy looking 1995 era sites, and then slowly just horrible things start happening when you click on the wrong part of the site, and you see monsters jump out or whatever.
So you're saying that it's going to be a gritty remake of AOL?
It's going to be a gritty remake of AOL, yes.
I think that's what the world needs right now. It's an AOL reboot.
Exactly, right? You open your mailbox and it's got one of those stupid CDs that AOL used to send out in the millions, but it's not really AOL, it's the devil.
Yeah, it's just written in blood.
It's written in blood.
Free trial.
You just pop it in anyway.
Oh, man.
What is Blasphemy Online? I've never heard of this service.
Blasphemy Online. I would play that MMO. That sounds good.
Oh god. When I was young and stupid, my friends were young and stupid. IRC, right? The very ancient internet protocol. We would go into hashtag, I call it hashtag now, oh my god, I'm truly in this generation. Pound sign Christian, and we would pretend to be Satan. Like,
that was the edgiest shit.
I know. The edgiest shit. Like, they weren't even talking about God or anything. It's just a place for Christians to hang out, right? So hey, how's your day? Say hi, I'm Satan or something like that. You're all damned.
XX666XX has joined the chat room.
Exactly.
Hello, mortals. I am Satan. LOL.
Just write stuff backwards inside. Oh god.
What a world.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did stupid shit like that too, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I must have.
Oh man, I don't remember. I will say though, there was a really strange time in in Malaysian internet, in which, or at least in my town, the local radio station would actually at 2 a.m. on the Friday or something, would actually be on the IRC channel and reading the IRC channel as well, the DJs. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then sometimes they will read dedications coming out of the IRC channel live on radio.
Huh. Awesome.
So that's what I did when I was younger. I would hang out, listen to the radio late at night, talk to my friends on IRC, and occasionally the DJ will, say something about what we said in the chat.
Huh. So basically like ancient Twitch.
Ancient Twitch!
Right? Like, it sounds kind of similar to me. Like, you're just hanging out in the chat room and there's a dude talking.
Yep.
You're all listening to. Weird.
Yep. Oh, yeah. What were we talking about again? Yeah, SCOTUS. Totally forgot about that part.
Yeah.
So, what else happened? Was that, is that where we are right now in terms of Molyneux developments?
I think we've pretty much exhaustively covered it. Yeah, it's basically they couldn't figure out what to do with the rest of the game, so they just abandoned it and made a new one, and then tried to get people to pay for content in it. And It's apparently like really broken. Like shit, like when you go into combat, another window opens, like another instance of the game opens with the combat in it, and then that closes and it goes back to the old window when the combat's over. Yeah, like insane shit. Like really not well made game. I can't emphasize enough how fucked up this early access they've put forth is.
Oh god, I bet Peter Molyneux wish we could go back to the early 90s.
Yeah, back when that was just a video game. That's it. Done. Give me my money.
Man, I should do a better job in trying to find games that I played from the early 90s. Some of them were really bizarre.
I mostly played Heretic.
Heretic was a good game. Or I heard about Heretic being a good game.
It's so good. It's still good now. Like, it still is a really good example of like level design and stuff in video games. Very well made.
So, for those of us who are not familiar with Heretic, would you like to give a quick blurb about it?
Sure, it's Doom but fantasy. Like it's in that era. Doom was the first-person shooter engine. There wasn't really another one. So there were a lot of games made in the Doom engine. Duke Nukem is an example of that. Wolfenstein was like the predecessor. So there are a lot of famous games from back then that were all Doom mods, basically. So it would sound weird in isolation, but Heretic was one of those. It was a whole game on its own, but it was made in the Doom engine, and it was a fantasy game. So instead of like a pistol, you had a wand, and instead of a shotgun, you had a crossbow, and they had similar but not identical mechanics to the Doom weapons. And everything was like this cool gothic fantasy skin. So it was really neat. Some really cool architecture and enemy design and so forth. Really cool. Worth checking out.
It is on Steam, by the way, for those of you who would like to check it out on Steam. So
it is on Steam. There. There's also a freeware version still in distribution today. And it's always been free. It's called Shareware. And it's like the first of 3 chapters of the game, and you can play that totally for free. You get Doom engine, such as Doomsday is the one I like. So you get Doomsday, and then you get on the internet and find yourself the Shareware Heretic WAD, which you can do through torrents, or I'm sure websites are hosting it and stuff like that. And then you just get that going and play it for free. And then if you really like it, you can buy the whole set from Steam.
Man, I remember Shareware. I played a lot of Shareware games.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Age. Yeah. I was going to say that Hexen's on Steam, Heretics on Steam, both of them on Steam, really.
Yeah, I should really play Hexen. I haven't, but that's the sequel to Heretic. Right. I never had it as a kid.
Right. And the other major, I say this, major quote-unquote game release that was essentially a Doom clone, I feel, is Super Noah's Ark 3D.
Oh, yeah. That's an example of where it got kind of silly.
Yeah, that is an example of where it got kind of silly.
the opposite end of the spectrum from something like Heretic, which was a masterful expansion of the engine. Something like Super Noah's Ark 3D was just like, let's we gotta cash in on this Doom craze. Let's make a Christian game.
Well, I was kind of wrong about that, actually, because actually it's the Wolfenstein engine, so it's even earlier than that.
I thought it looked maybe, yeah. It's a devolution of Doom.
It is exactly what you think it is. You run into the Ark and you use your catapult to tame the animals by shooting at them.
Who thought that's what it was?
What?
You said it's exactly what you think it is, and then you described this insane fever dream.
I know, right? I guess I was assuming that because I mean the game is called Super 3D Noah's Ark, but it wasn't called Super 3D Shoot All the Animals on Noah's Ark. So
yeah, it's a really interesting. Back in those days, there was very little expression in video games that wasn't attack, kill, shoot. Mm-hmm. So when they're making this port, it's like they're in this Doom engine. Doom, your only interaction with the world is open doors or shoot at things. So they had to figure out how to make this Noah's Ark game. And really the only option they could have possibly come up with is you have to shoot at the animals and quote unquote kill them. And then paste some narrative on top of that to make it not bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, you knock them out with your... Is it a catapult or a slingshot?
It looks like a catapult. I actually own the game, which
really?
I've never played it. Yeah, I own the game, and it is a slingshot, sorry, not a catapult. My god.
Yeah, so you're basically Bart Simpson running around the Ark.
Yeah.
Knocking out animals.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you know if there are other weapons in it, too? Like, do you have the
don't...
chain gun slingshot equivalent and the plasma gun slingshot? Well, like how in Heretic, it's like, the pistol is a wand, and you have this cool, like, dragon claw thing that's the chain gun. Is there stuff like that, like some sort of, like, rapid fire knockout mechanic? Do you eventually just get, like, a knockout gas sprayer thing that acts like the plasma gun?
Okay, we're going to do this live. I'm going to go to GameFAQs.com and we'll find this out.
All right.
Okay, so let's read through this really quickly. Animals. Each animal makes a distinctive sound when it first detects Noah, and then is silent except during its attacks. Goats have a high-pitched bleat. Sheep have a low-pitched bleat. Ostriches have a chirp. Antelope has hooves. What?
Antelope has hooves? Oh, it probably like
sound
clops.
Of the hooves, I guess.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oxen snort. Oh, good. The ceremonially unclean animals are the bosses of the game.
What? So we got these weird, like, remnants from Satan rituals that we have to cleanse from the earth. Jesus.
No, I don't think that's interesting as that. I think it means, like, in the Bible, some animals are considered unclean.
Oh, like pigs and stuff.
Yeah, oh, good. It continues. The camel moan. So I guess the camel moans.
Oh, nice. Good.
Isn't too difficult as a first floor boss. 2 watermelons will just about fill him up.
So you have to feed them food to knock him out?
I think that's what it is.
Oh man.
I think that's what it is, because that sentence taken out of context makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Maybe for a future podcast, that should be our game of the week.
We should try to do that. That would be hilarious, actually.
It'd be pretty good.
There's a note here, by the way, that says, note to other writers, be aware of the difference in spelling between antelope and cantaloupe. I don't even know why they noted that.
Good. Oh, man. Like, unofficial free-written game guides were the best.
They were the best. I should find some classics. There's some that were written by, let's say, highly idiosyncratic people.
Totally. They all had the crazy ASCII art and stuff.
Yeah,
they were really awesome productions sometimes.
They were.
Or they were, like, crazy and weird. It was always an adventure looking up a guide on a game.
Yeah.
Good times.
Let's see. And you know what the other thing was? I remember now in GameFAQs back in like 2002 and stuff. You know how in this day and age, if you wanted to see like a speed run or some kind of crazy challenge, you'd go on Twitch, right? Mm-hmm. But back when there was no online streaming video, people would write, we'll go on GameFAQs and write a FAQ for single character challenge, do Final Fantasy Tactics the whole way through with only one character. So that was the expression of that, even before Speed Demos Archive.
Yeah, totally. Even as late as Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. I remember I was into doing some challenge runs of that game, and I read this crazy guide by this guy who figured out how to beat the whole game with only a knife and a pistol, and very rarely used the pistol, because there was one boss that had so much health. He didn't upgrade his pistol, so you basically had to fill the entire inventory you could possibly have with pistol ammo. And then shoot this boss for like 3 hours when you get to him, and use something like 500 pistol bullets, which is an absurd amount of space. So you just have to like get there, getting every pistol ammo possible, and kill everything with your knife, and then use your gun at that one point, and then finish the game with the knife.
There you go.
It was insane. Yeah. And that was just a .txt on GameFAQs that I was reading, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, those are things that I just took for granted back in those days, but
yeah, looking back, it's really an interesting piece of history.
Yeah. Other boss animals, the ceremonially unclean animals, include the giraffe, which sounds like a slide whistle. That's the sound that you're supposed to hear for. I guess. Is it because he has a long neck? I don't know. Exactly.
Awesome.
The monkey, high-pitched squeal, throws painful coconuts is deadly at close range. The kangaroos have a spring noise because they bounce, I guess.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, that's not uncommon at all in media.
This sentence is just awesome when taken out of context. I'm just going to read it to you, okay?
Right.
Kangaroos are like monkeys, but a bit meaner. It takes 8 watermelons to feed one.
Oh man, that's some serious shit. What is the deal with these watermelons? Is that a weapon? Do you just throw watermelons at them?
I think that is the answer to your original question, in which it's the watermelons that are the weapon upgrades.
Yeah. Like, that must be like you have a watermelon launcher that's like a rocket launcher.
I guess.
Awesome. Good.
Let's see, the elephant... What's up?
I was gonna say, I wonder if the narrative is like, instead of knocking them out with a slingshot, you're actually slingshotting like nuts at them to feed them. So that
I think that's it.
They fall asleep.
I think that's exactly
fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
The elephant shoots coconuts out of its trunk, so Noah's not the only one using this tactic, right? The elephant's trying to put Noah to sleep too by stuffing him with food.
Yeah. What a hedonistic, gluttonous adventure this ship is. Just everyone trying to stuff each other with food first so they pass out.
The bear is the weirdest one, I'll tell you. The bear, I guess, is the final boss of the game. And
that makes sense.
The bear's presence is indicated by a clicking proximity detector that gets louder.
So it's like a radioactive bear. You got your like Geiger counter to track it. That's amazing.
Oh no,
that's some...
It's a Yaoguai.
That's some horror movie shit, man. Or not, that's some horror game shit, rather. Like, the radioactive boss that, like, clicks as you get close to it, and you're like, oh shit, oh shit. And your screen starts getting staticky.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You turn around, it's a bear.
Yeah, it's this crazy, like, cyborg bear.
No, it gets even better. I mean, better with this scenario that you're setting up here, and also what the game actually is, because it goes on to say, at a distance, he is disguised by shrubbery. So in your scenario, you hear this clicking noise, and the screen...
And you turn, it's just a fucking bush.
It's just a bush. But...
Why are there bushes on the Ark?
Yeah, why are there bushes on
what on earth? How did that bear's not fooling anybody? You can turn into a bush, but this isn't the fucking woods anymore. You're on an Ark. It's gonna be pretty conspicuous.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we gotta beat that game and talk about it.
Speed run. Just speed run it and put it on GameFAQs. Just like the good old days. Once he eats enough, about 6 watermelons, that glutton, he charges at full speed and can rip Noah into shreds. Wow.
It sounds about right for a bear.
It does.
Man, Noah was a badass. He faces down this bear and stuffs it full of watermelons until it stops resisting.
Yeah.
I want to see the fan art of just like Noah covered in watermelon juice, like holding the bear's neck with one hand and shoving a watermelon into its mouth.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, Maybe we can commission CKD.
I wonder what his reaction to that would be.
Oh, he would love it.
I'm sure.
He's really into it. Oh, man. Well, anyway, we should probably move on to some viewer mail.
Yeah, let's do that. Just to answer your question real quickly. Well, you probably figured this out, but the upgrades are, in fact, the fruits.
Oh, okay. So you just get better fruit as you... That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like...
thing.
At first it's fruit pallets, then cantaloupes, then watermelons.
Oh my god, I just remembered really quick. You know Chex Quest, right?
You know, that sounds really familiar. Can you remind me of what that is?
Okay, so Chex Quest, we were talking about all these games that were built on the Doom engine. Chex Quest is a really fascinating example. It was a free addition to boxes of Chex. You could just open your box of cereal and it would have a CD in it, and the CD was a fully fledged Doom mod, full conversion to you as a superhero. It's just a giant piece of Chex. So it starts with this crazy CGI cutscene of all these different cereals. And they're like people that are shaped like cereal. Like there's a dude who's shaped like a donut. There's a dude who's shaped like a puff, like a, I don't know, like a Captain Crunch circle thing. I can't remember what they're called. Peanut Butter Crunch. And they're like a normal Captain Crunch guy. And they're talking about this alien invasion of these crazy goo monsters from another dimension. And they've taken over a base, and it's basically like it's almost the same plot as Doom. It's just like aliens have taken over this base on a moon around Mars. In Doom's case, I don't know. They aren't really clear. It's not around Mars. But it's the same thing. There's a moon with a space station on it, or like a space base, and it's taken over by aliens. And everybody's like, man, I don't want to fucking go there. And the Chex dude is like, oh, I'll do it. And he looks so ridiculous. This dude stands up and he's just like a big piece of Chex with like human legs sticking off the bottom that are wearing blue tights. And, yeah, it's nuts. So similarly to Noah's Ark, you can't actually kill things in this game because it's supposed to be children appropriate. So you end up sending the goo monsters back to their own dimension with all of these things that are suspiciously gun-like because they're just modded Doom weapons.
Right.
But they're like teleporters, you know, quote unquote. And yeah, really fascinating. And it's actually a pretty good game. It is not terrible. Yeah, it's not awful. And it's super weird. So Chex Quest, look it up. I've actually tried to find a working copy of it today. I can't get it to work on modern machines. I'm sure it's possible, but it's really hard, which is unfortunate. Man. But I played the shit out of Chex Quest when I was a kid.
Man, there's so many things. Like, there's so many really strange games that I wish could work on modern computers now, but
yeah,
they can't. And like you said, unfortunately, we do have to move on to Letters. But remind me next week to talk about the Les Miserables fighting game.
Oh my god, okay. I'm writing that down right now. Game. I hope I spelled that right so I don't look like an idiot.
Yep.
Anyway, so we got a viewer mail from David. He writes, "Hi guys, how's it going? Got some ideas for you that might be interesting to talk about. We're probably not going to cover all of these today, but we might well come back to this email because there's a lot of topics here that I really like. But one thing that I really like, even if we don't talk about this, I just like his take on it. Ridiculous fake esoteric TV is his idea for a topic. Shows or groups or whatever. Here in Hungary, for example, we have/had a channel called Etso TV. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how you say Z in Hungary. Etso TV, with guys who do spine surgeries through the camera and send money or energy, etc. I wonder if there's something stupid like that around your place."
Okay,
I think that might just be a Hungary thing.
I think so, and I'm kind of basically an asshole, and I read this email just before I started recording. But I should look this up because I see there's a YouTube video about this, and I will watch it before the next one just so that we make sure to talk about it. But it does look like a person doing surgery.
Man, that is weird. I wonder what he means. They send money, energy, etc. What? What?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm really interested. Email us back and tell us more about Ezo TV. I'm interested in this. I want to hear full blow-by-blow of an episode.
Do we have any ridiculous fake esoteric TV shows in America?
I don't think it's... Like, our TV is so overly syndicated at this point, and there's just so much of it. I don't know. I think the era of, like, weird, hokey channels that don't really make any sense is over.
Right. Like, I kind of feel like American TV has some of those, but not... Like, let's say, for example, ridiculous fake TV. Yes, we have plenty of that, but... What's up?
Do you remember that dude on Twitch who's selling knives 24/7?
Oh, on YouTube streaming.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was on YouTube streaming. I wonder if that guy's still going.
He's still going, actually. He streams every week.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I just haven't looked at it for a while.
Yeah, it's a selling knives thing, and there's all these just crazy fucking knives that are all, like, clearly pretty shitty, but advertised to be awesome, and they're in these spinning cases with mirrors and stuff, and this guy just recites fact after fact about these weird things that people are gonna want for some reason, and they're not, for the most part, like cooking knives. They're like weird stylized, like silly, impractical, curved, twisted blades and stuff. It'll be like, oh yeah, this is our last, zombie hunting knife. It says, look at it right on the side. It says, kill zombies, and it's got this cool paint job and is, last of its kind. And just all these weird, like, categories of knife you would never imagine. Zen and I just watched it transfixed for a couple hours when we found out about it.
Yeah, we should do that again.
Yeah,
I've forgotten about that. Cutlery Corner, and I'm on their website right now.
There you go.
Cutlery Corner Network.
All right. See if you can find some more definite information on that website, because I'm working off months-old memory.
No, I'm looking at it right now. Okay, and one thing is that the website doesn't look great, right? But the other thing is that I just clicked on their top-selling items just to see what their top-selling item is. It's called the Weed Eater knife. And it is a knife with a black blade. So imagine like a pocket knife. Well, not really, but kind of a short knife with a black blade. And a green handle that has 4 marijuana leaves on it. That's their top seller.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an excellent example of the kind of thing you will see if you watch this stream. It's all just insanity. It's so good. And there's a live chat, and people are just like... just telling funny jokes and stuff. Man, it's weird.
Yeah, I should do it. I should watch that again.
Yeah, so I forgot how much I enjoyed it until just now. Thinking about weird TV shit made me remember it. So thank you for the topic, David. The email is much longer, but I think we should probably move on to talking about our game of the week, because we're already pretty deep into it. But I like a lot of these ideas, and we'll probably come back to them, do some research on some of them, and then come back to them in future episodes when we have stuff to talk about. It was a good email. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you, David. And remember that you can always email us at GameNotGameMail@gmail.com with any topics or ideas that you want us to talk about.
Indeed. We always love hearing about weird shit like that. Like, if you have anything that you just think would be a funny topic for us that we would get a kick out of, email it to us. We love hearing stories and stuff. Good stuff. So, how did you feel about Sunless Sea?
So, Sunless Sea is our game of the week. It came out in early access about a year ago, I want to say. And it's completely out of early access right now. And I know you just asked me this question, but before I get to what I think about it, how would you describe the game for those of us who don't know what the game is like?
It is a heavily narrative-centric roguelike. It's like half text adventure, half not, which is really interesting. It's when you're playing the game, which is, again, about half the time probably, it's a top-down view, and you're in a little ship in this vast underground ocean where London has, like, fallen into. London, like, sunk underground to this weird underground sea that's full of kind of terrifying things. It's got vaguely Lovecraftian notes to it. being afraid is a big mechanic. As you travel, you get spooked just by, traveling around. And there's some basic resource management there, and there's very basic combat in the game. But that's kind of not the focus. That stuff seems to be there mostly for atmosphere. The focus is the really fascinating story and world that you're in. And just exploring and finding different things, different stories, different stuff going on in this world. So that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I would say that was my experience with it too. I will say that it is kind of slow to get into because the game basically really just throws you into its world. There is a tutorial, but after that you are expected to just accept that that, let's say, for example, right, there's no experience points in this game per se. There are fragments, isn't that right, or secrets or something along those lines. Fragments become a secret. Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's exactly analogous to experience, but it's
kind of like that. Yeah.
This game doesn't have a lot of traditional RPG elements to it. There's progression, but it happens weirdly.
Yeah, and for the most part, it's to its credit, the fact that a lot of these things tie into a lore which is totally different, I would say, than most games out there. It's just that for somebody who is expecting to come in for a more traditional experience might find it a little bit alienating. If you have the patience for it, then you're going to find that it's truly something quite original.
Totally, yeah. This is a game that when it first came out, people were into it. Like, I remember Rob and Cam liked it a lot, and I watched them play it, and I was like, nope, not my kind of game. Don't even really like watching it that much. And then when I started playing it, I kind of felt the same way. I was like, man, this is overwhelming. I don't know what I'm doing. But I gave it like an hour, and about an hour, like maybe 45 minutes in is when I was like, okay, this is pretty fucking cool. That's when I started enjoying it, because there's a lot to the game. But yeah, it's not an easy game. It's not analogous to games like any other game, really. So you don't come in with a lot of knowledge about what the hell you're supposed to be doing. And there's a lot of reading. It's a game about the reading, about the story. Everything else there is to complement the narrative and create atmosphere for it. It's really effective with that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I got the same feeling as you, because it really is it's really a story. It's everything else is somewhat secondary. The sailing around and fighting enemies. And I think one of the reasons why this is the case is because of the game's lineage. The developers, Fail Better Games, originally started off by making a browser game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've actually started playing.
How is it?
It's not as good as Sunless Sea, I don't think, but it's not terrible. It's interesting too. My girlfriend Katie has been into it for a long time. Like, whenever I go to visit her, she's always checking on her Fallen London shit.
Oh, is she? Wow.
Yeah. She's been into it for a long time. So she finally talked me into playing it now that I'm playing Sunless Sea, and I was like, yeah, that would be a good topic for the podcast. I should check it out. So that's interesting too. It's free. It's at fallenlondon.com.
Yep.
Something to check out if you like reading, because that one is all reading. There's nothing that's not reading in that game, and it's kind of grindy too. There's a lot of, you get a new action every 10 minutes, and you can like save up to 20 actions and then play it in a burst. And a lot of the time, what you're doing is, I have I have to spend 3 actions on this, and I have a 40% chance of success based on my stats. I'm going to try it. Nope. Try it. Nope. Okay, well, now I'm out of action, so I'll come back in a few hours. So, yeah, it doesn't appeal to me as much as Sunless Sea, but that's cool, too.
So, what do you think? Give an example of something memorable from Sunless Sea that you've encountered.
Oh, I actually wrote down a whole story about my journeys, because it got really interesting. The resource management is really fascinating in this game. So, I was taking off down south. Like, I wasn't really sure what I was doing yet. This was very early in the game. I was told by a dude I need to go south and find some place called the Mangrove Garden, which I still to this point have not found, or Mangrove College rather. So I'm sailing around down south, and I find a ship that's like made out of gold, and it's all glowy, and it's called a glorious frigate. I'm like, okay, that's gonna have some cool shit on it. And it has, like, it's way higher level than me. It has like 300 HP, and I have 75. But I find that if I just hang out behind it and shoot it in the back, then I can kill it without it shooting me back. So I just totally cheese it. And I spend like 4 fuel just going in circles with this dude, killing him while he's like throwing flares and shit and just desperately doing everything he can to attack me, but they never even damaged me. So I kill it, and then the game was like, oh, you pillage the ship and you get a lumpy sack. Probably not a sack full of skulls. And I'm like, all right, weird. And then I open it, and in fact, what it contained was a crate of human souls.
Ah.
And I was like, okay, weird. So I bring this crate of souls back to the town, but then I'm totally out of food and fuel, which is very expensive, like keeping yourself supplied. And it's partly because I was like spending so long fighting the ship that I had to eat 2 whole food just while I was like circling this dude. Like apparently the crew just all like took a break mid-fight to just go and eat food twice. So I was totally out of shit, and I go back and I had to sell the souls on the black market. So that was one experience I had. That's the sort of experience you have a lot in this game. It's just like weird shit like that. You just come across like, what the fuck, a crate of souls? All right, well, I guess I'll sell it to buy more food and fuel. Sure.
Well, just to give a bit more context, though, the amount, when you said something like 2 food and 4 fuel, the units are actually that small in the game. You start off with something like, what, 10 fuel or 12 fuel or something like that?
Does it even give you that much?
I don't remember exactly, but you'll find yourself running out of fuel really quickly if you get too far. And in fact, the game even prompts you at some point. If you happen to get a whole bunch of fuel, like 16 or something like that, then the game says, you know what, you've got lots of fuel and maybe a lot of food. Why don't you go further? You know?
I never got that prompt because I was very poor at the beginning. I had a really big mishap, actually, right after that Crate of Souls thing. You know, I'm super low on everything. Like, I have no money and barely any food and fuel. So I take up a job from this dude, this criminally gentleman in Fallen London. He's like, oh yeah, I'll pay you like 1,000 echoes, which is a ton, like a shitload of money, like unbelievable amount of money. If you deliver this illegal crate of brilliant human souls to someplace in the east. So I take this crate of human souls and sneak past customs with it, go out east, try to find where I'm supposed to deliver it, can't find it before I'm almost out of fuel, so I have to turn back, and then customs searches my ship, takes my crate of human souls and all of my money, and I get, like, penalized. Now they're suspicious of me, and I'm like, well, fuck, that sucks. And then I get out of the boat, and I see that the dude who gave me the job wants to talk, and I'm like, uh-oh. And he talks to me, and he's like, okay, well, you owe me 500 echoes now. And I'm like, well, I don't have that. So I get like a 3% chance to fight him off, and obviously that doesn't work, and he kills half of my crew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Like, does he appear in a boat and shoot at you or something, or does he?
It's a fully narrative thing. I had I was given the options I had were give this guy 500 echoes, which was impossible because I had 0 because customs just took all of my money, or fight this man, and it was like 3% chance of success, you know, an almost impossible challenge. And I was like, yeah, this seems almost impossible, but that was my only means forward. I had to fight him. And yeah, it ended up he added a ton of terror. He gave me like 30 terror and killed half of my dudes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really fucked. So I told Katie about this, and she was like, oh my god, nothing that bad has ever happened to me in this game. Ever. Like, you got totally fucked over. Because Katie's, she's beaten Sunless Sea, effectively.
Oh,
like,
has she?
Yeah, she's played a lot of it.
Oh, wow.
So I was asking her for advice, and she actually told me, after that, I was like, well, Katie, I have 3 fuel and 0 food. What do I do? And she was like, if you go east and find this, like, Frenchie named town, you might be able to make some food out of terror. And I was like, all right, I'm trying it. And so I did it. I went to this like mushroom farm, and you can just go and like harvest mushrooms, but it's scary to do that apparently. So you get a chance of harvesting food, but also you get terror, and if you fail you get a lot of terror. But that gave me like 7 food, and that was enough to come back. And then after that I did some quests and got like 1,500 echoes, and now I'm doing fine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got very close to being over, like being game over there.
What's so scary about the mushrooms? Did they say?
I don't. They just say that it's a very uneasy place. Oh, and some of them are hallucinogenic.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
when you fail, you eat like drug mushrooms, and that gives you terror. Obviously, because terror and sanity are kind of interchangeable. Like when your terror gets too high, you go insane. Is what actually happens.
Oh, okay. I haven't gotten that high of terror before.
Yeah, me neither.
Most of the time when I fail, it's because I get into a battle I cannot handle, and then I just die.
Oh man, I chose the Veils, man. Veils is like stealth.
Yeah.
Like your stealth stat. So I tend to avoid fighting, and that works out pretty well for me.
Oh, it's greed on my part.
Yeah.
So there's that.
It's not too hard to fight other ships, because they can't shoot to their back, so you can just do the bullshit cheesing like I did with the Glorious Frigate. But as soon as you're fighting an animal, they just charge at you. They are so hard to fight. Like crabs and bats and shit. Bats steal your food. Oh, fuck bats.
Oh, do they? I did not realize this.
Yeah, so now whenever I see an animal, I just turn off my light and hope they don't see me and just book it out of there.
Right. I saw a shark at one point, and I was like, nope, I'm just going back to London. And I
did. Good call.
Because the shark was the size of my boat.
Yeah.
So
that sounds real scary. I haven't seen anything like that, fortunately.
I think my most interesting experience, and I think this is all fairly early game stuff, so hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler. My most interesting experience was landing on an island and seeing that there were 2 feuding kingdoms on the island, one full of rats and the other full of hamsters, like talking hamsters and talking rats. And
how awesome.
I had to decide who to side with. So that's an encounter that could happen.
That's pretty great.
So these are all examples of things that could happen to players in Fallen London, and I like that. It's truly original.
It's really interesting. And yeah, it does so many unique things. Like for example, you can choose your own objective. Mm-hmm. Like when you start the game, it asks you a bunch of things. You like build your character. One of the things is, what do you want? And I chose, I want to be rich and retire. But you can also choose to like find the bones of your father who got lost out on the Z somewhere. And God, I can't remember the other options.
The other options are 100 Tales of the Z, be an explorer or something.
Oh yeah.
And one that is locked at the beginning, but somehow you can make this happen if you find the right encounters, I guess, is to start your own kingdom. So
wow. Cool.
The game tells you at the beginning that you are able to do that, but it doesn't give you that choice. You have to do something, which the game doesn't say what it is. Yeah,
you probably have to like win one of the other challenges or something, if I had to guess. Because it is a roguelike. It's designed to be played multiple times. The islands are always in the same general direction, but they move around. So, if you die, you have to rediscover the map and figure out where everything is.
If you die, and I don't remember exactly what happens, I think you do get a little bit from your previous life. I think the game gives you a little bit of progression, and I don't quite remember what it is right now.
Yeah, I think it does too. I haven't died yet. It hints at it. Yeah, I meant to play until I died, but then I ended up like really turning my game around from that horrible situation I was in, and now I'm doing great. So death is not anywhere near on the horizon. Hopefully, anyway. So far, I'm doing a pretty good job of just sneaking past enemies and managing my resources.
Probably should do that. I think that would be better for me.
Sneaking is really, really strong. Yeah, I didn't used to do it either, but I got into a couple of fights with crabs, and I was just like, fuck that. Crabs totally tear your ship apart, man. They're so scary.
Yeah. One thing that I will note, I played this game when it first came out on early access, and the battle system was completely different back then, and I like the battle system now better.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
What did it used to be like?
It was a turn-based affair. So you would get into a fight, and then you would change. You know, it would bring up another screen, another window in which you had to take turns, increasing the illumination, and then firing when you can see the enemy.
Fascinating.
So it was a little bit clunky, and I'm glad they changed it to more of a real-time battle system, which it's very basic, as you said, but it's better than what was there before.
Yeah, the battle system is pretty unique and not particularly impressive in the game, but the way it works is when you're in a battle, you get an area in which you can aim at enemies. It's like, for me, and I think it depends on the weapons you have equipped, but for me it's like there's a circle around my ship, and the front half of it is if I have an enemy in there, then my guys can see them and start preparing to shoot at them, so this little bar on my weapon will fill up slowly, and if I shine my light on the enemy, which is only directly in front of my ship, then the bar fills up faster. And then once you have a lock on the enemy, basically, then you can fire and do damage to them. And the enemy at the same time is trying to do the same thing to you. Which is why you can just circle behind a ship forever, because you're out of their gun's sight. So you can just, if they're too stupid to get you in front of them, then they'll just never be able to shoot at you.
So yeah, would you say? I mean, I know I get the feeling you would say yes, but would you say you had a positive impression of Sunless Sea?
Yeah, surprisingly so. Actually, it's rare for me to like a game like this, but it's I think mostly I have so many games to play that it's very tempting for me to start playing a game like this and be like, I'm overwhelmed, I don't really know what I'm doing, and just stop playing it. But being forced to play it for the podcast made me pay enough attention to it to get past not knowing what I was doing and start having a good time with it.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's one of those games, you get back what you put into it. If you spend the time to get invested in it, then you're going to have a good time. It's a really fun game.
Yep. I'm pretty much right there with you. It's very slow-paced, but definitely a game that has a lot of atmosphere and is very well written.
Yeah. That's one thing I meant to touch on, is that, like, the sailing parts, there's nothing impressive about the sailing and the combat and everything, but man, does it add to the atmosphere, because you're just out there in the middle of nowhere, and, like, your terror is going up, you're using up fuel, you don't know where you're going exactly, because you can't really... You haven't been to this area before, and then suddenly you get near an island and this really cool soundtrack starts playing that's like really neat, emotionally evocative music from like Victorian era. It's just so cool, and you hear sound effects of like what's happening on the dock. Like, there's one place that does a lot of ironworking and stuff, and you can hear the pistons and whatnot, and then you pull into port, and then you can read this really cool description of the place you're in, and man, it's really cool. Like, it does such an effective job of building atmosphere, and yeah, it's awesome. And the fact that the combat is kind of clunky makes it spooky when you're near something. Like, if I saw a shark, I would shit my pants, because like, my experience with even small melee enemies is really scary. So if a shark was going after me, I'd be like, nope, turn off my light, run away, and it would legitimately be a stressful situation. So it's really good at evoking emotion, even though the mechanics are pretty basic for the most part.
I had, to that point, I had my fair share of desperate situations. I wish I had written them down, but where I left off in the game was me desperately trying to get away from a pirate boat or something up in the far north, and just being like scared, like trying to get to the nearest island and being like, okay, lose them, I need to get away, but it's a far north and the snow, so it was hard. Yeah,
you don't want to go far north. That's a bad place. I only went there once and I was like, okay, turning around. In the far north, this like snow effect comes onto your screen and your speed is cut in like half. You can just barely move. You just trudge through the water. Luckily, I didn't find any enemies up there when that happened to me.
Yep. I got them.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
So we probably should wrap this up. The last thing I will say about Sunless Sea is that the expansion is coming.
Apparently there's a DLC.
Yeah, it's called Submarina, so I guess that means you're going to the bottom of the sea, which I'm sure is going to be very psychologically healthy for you.
Yeah, my first thought was, I wonder if this will let us go to hell, but Katie told me that hell is not under the water, so unfortunately that's not. But that's one interesting thing. There are characters in the game that are devils from hell, like,
and I haven't seen them yet.
Oh, really? Yeah, they just live among the humans there. They, now that London has fallen, it's very close to hell. So the demons can just travel to the human cities and hang out with us. And they like souls a lot. But they're just cool dudes. Like, and they'll, like, trade for souls with humans. It is just a amicable affair. It's really weird.
That explains the souls thing. I was kind of wondering about that, but now
that's what the souls are about. Yeah, they're illegal to have, but not in such a way as, like, this is forbidden. It's just I hadn't filled out the right paperwork, basically, to be transporting souls, and that's why the customs officers got mad at me. It's not because having a box of human souls is a monstrous thing or anything. It's just part of the trade. But I'm not an authorized soul dealer, so I got in trouble.
Right. Right.
So it's so strange.
Soul dealer.
Yeah, really fascinating, like, and kind of tongue-in-cheek world building. It's really good. I love it.
Oh boy, Sunless Sea, everyone. Be sure to check it out on Steam. And
hopefully you didn't miss the free weekend last weekend, but maybe that'll happen again.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I think sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired now.
Sorry about that.
Down, but no, it's okay. It's okay. I think we should wind up the podcast now. We haven't decided what we're going to play next week, so I guess we don't have an announcement for that, do we?
Oh no. What? Let me look at the list really quick.
Yeah, we can probably just put that in the description.
We can edit it in.
Yeah, we can edit it into yeah, that's true. That's definitely a thing that could happen. So we might talk about this after the podcast. Yeah,
let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up, and then we can edit in what the game of the week is. Sorry, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure to go and check out Head to Head on Zen's channel if you're watching this on YouTube and are interested in such things. We did a crazy bomb-related challenge in The Binding of Isaac. And subscribe to him while you're over there, and we'll see you guys next week with more Game Not Game podcast, more head-to-head, more fun.
Thank you. You are on Green's channel now. Be sure to check out his other videos while you're here and subscribe while you're over here, and we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
All set?